guys, Run Pure Sports members have been on fire recently as we've had a ton of six-figure screenshots flooding our premium Discord. And the winning wasn't limited to one sport, as our members have access to premium content across all sports for one low price. We kick things off with Hebrew Cheetah, who took home $19K in NBA. Also in NBA, C. Lion shipped $100K. In the PGA streets, C. Jacobs 986 won $100K, while Club Camp Cole and Birdie Monster each took home over $200K. The biggest winner of all was an NBA hit, with the man shipping a monster $1 million in DraftKings Millie Maker contest. Our members weren't the only ones crushing the leaderboard. Our very own JSU won over $100K in MLB, while BigT had another monster performance, shipping for $146K in PGA. With NBA playoffs, MLB, and PGA going strong, now is a great time to subscribe to Run Pure Sports. Head on over to our website and check out all of our affordable subscription options, and use code RPSHeaters25 for 25% off your first payment on a monthly subscription. And don't sleep on our free content offerings as well. PGA Millie winner Record 62 has been producing regular PGA articles on our website to help you build winning lineups. And subscribe to our YouTube channel today to sign up for alerts to our daily free live streams. Our bet team has been on fire as well, with our guy Keg dominating the live NASCAR betting, pulling in over 22 units per race in 3 of the past 5 races. There's no better way to build your bankroll than betting with Keg and Coop on the live KegCast. Check it out today for just $40 a month. Thanks again, guys. Make sure you head on over to Run Pure Sports and find out why our members are crushing in every sport by accessing our free and premium content.
All right. On Run Pure Sports YouTube channel, by the way, why don't you subscribe to our channel? It's that little square in the bottom right-hand corner with the sideways triangle. It's red with a white triangle in it that's sideways. Give us a like. Hello. We're going to talk some baseball. Nice little slate today. 6 games. We've had some afternoon baseball all week long, and I got a great crew with me. We got DC. We got Mangone. Mangone, what's going on here? It's the 3 guys in the Denver area, which is absolutely amazing. Look at that. Talk to me here. What's going on in Mangone streets? And I'm not talking about DFS. I'm really talking about, why do you have to be a giant and everybody else has to be a munchkin?
Well, that's on Helmet. He's the one who created the graphic, but this is the thing I'm excited for, Holden. Like, they're on my giant graphic today, but tomorrow I'm on with Big T. So we are going to see me as a giant next to Big T. So those are things that I'm definitely excited to see tomorrow. Should be a lot of fun. And I'm excited to do baseball with you guys, because last time we were on a show, we had a pretty profitable show, in my opinion. So let's hope we can go 2 for 2 here with the Denver boys getting it done.
Oh, that is so great. I really hope Big T is like little T, right? Yeah, I hope they like shrink his head. Remember Beetlejuice, who was on Howard Stern? He had a little, this little head. You should just shrink his head and put him on a little body. DC, how do you feel when you are part of that graphic? Because it's been twice already.
I mean, I was the first one. Like, we didn't know. We didn't know at first. It was just a joke on DC, and then it was JSU the next day. So the graphic was accurate. But we saw Hoop down there. Midget Hoop. We're going to see Midget, Big T. At this point, the graphic, I think, is here to stay, and we've got plenty of jokes out of it, so it's all good.
It is great. It really is one of the better things. Helmet. It's probably Helmet's greatest contribution to what we've seen here at Run Pure Sports. It really is. It is a great crew. Uncle T, what are you doing? Why don't you hop in here, Uncle T? We haven't talked with you in a while. Apparently you are the biggest shit talker at RPS, which I found fascinating. Who was I doing the show with? Hoop and somebody else.
That was me. That was
you.
Yeah.
And Uncle T, the biggest shit talker. It blew my mind.
Hold it. Well, this is what he does. It's the classic rope-a-dope, right? This is what he does. He brings you in, right? He goes, DC, like, you're so great at basketball. You know what I mean? He talks you up like you're really good. And then he says, DC, you suck. I'm going to take you on. And then he just goes and just beats you. Like, he didn't beat DC, but that's what he does. He builds you up real good. He butters you up and then just brings you down. That's what
I like it. I actually respect that type of trash talk.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it is quite impressive. How are things going, DC? How are things going in the world right now? I think it's Joey Work's pick. I don't think it was my pick. Mariners looking to wrap this thing up, get our first bet home of the day. How's things going?
On the right bats on the 2-game slate this afternoon, but you're going to have that on a 2-game slate. Hoping to rebound tonight. The Braves so far have been kind of my personal bugaboo, right? I've been on them on the wrong time. So I faded them. They go off for 13 runs. And, I was kind of considering a Joe Musgrove tonight against the Braves, or maybe a Braves stack. I wasn't sure. Then I saw Ally Mack all in on the Braves, the Ally Mack pick of the day. That's going to decide it for me. So I'm back on the Atlanta Braves tonight.
Might be the only game I didn't bet on. No, you know what? I'm on the Padres, so she might be in a good spot.
Oh,
no,
well, I'm going to choose Ally Mack over Holden myself.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Maybe I'll just flip it now. Mangone, talk to me here. How are things going in the baseball streets, the NBA? We've had some pretty big winners the last couple of nights in those playing games. No NBA tonight, though. How are things going in baseball for you?
Yeah, NBA has been going well. I enjoyed the NBA this week, but MLB, it hasn't been going too bad either. I've had different approaches. Some days I play one lineup, some I'm playing multiple. And today I'm just keeping it really simple. I'm keeping it a light day, nothing crazy. I'm trying to just hone in on the MME process. Just going to do 10 teams over on DraftKings and see how it goes. I didn't love this slate when I opened it too. So I said, okay, we'll just kind of figure it out. And hopefully, as we talk it through, we can kind of hone in on the process and some of the plays and really come with something good. Cause I'll admit the last time I was on with you guys, I wasn't like super confident in the slate. And as we kind of talked about it, I got more and more, and then it was a pretty good slate overall. So hopefully we can do that again here.
Okay. Well, what we're going to do here is we'll do the pitching and we'll do position by position. Okay. That's what we want. Just reading some of the things from the chat here. DC is like a cheat code in Contra back in the day, making winning much easier. Have you ever heard of Contra, DC? I feel like it was probably about 5 years before you were alive.
No, I definitely played some Contra on the original NES, right? I believe that's right. It's been a long time, but yeah, I played some Contra, and I appreciate the compliment. That's very nice of them to say.
A couple guys say I look like I'm from the movie Grease. I have not seen that movie in a long time, but Olivia Newton-John back in the day.
I will say, holding your hair is going to new levels today. I like it.
Yeah, but basically went to the gym, haven't done anything with it. So it's a good thing we don't do these shows in person because I smell horrible. Also, Mangone, there's nothing about anybody want to say something nice about Mangone in the chat. We'd really appreciate it because right now it's just about me and DC, and I'd prefer somebody say something nice to Mangone. And Terry Niehaus says, I love my RPS coworkers. So I know that's a lie because I work with him during football season. Right around week 6, he starts getting very irritated. And then by week 10, he's just done with me. There's no question. He's just like, get this. And then he starts liking me again right around this time of year. Okay, guys, let's do it.
DC, that's the same for you in May, right? By the time we hit May for baseball, you're like, okay, I'm done with Holden.
No, it already happened.
Oh,
it happened.
Okay.
It happened Monday.
Yeah, no, that's a 24/7, 365.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't tell you about the dartboard he has up with my face on it.
No,
I mean,
not dictated by the sports seasons. I'll tell you that.
You get it out. All right, Sam called you Mangoat, and you're a gentleman, and you're a scholar, and you're a nice guy. Is that better? Stop it with the nice stuff, Mangoat. All I wanted was 1. Now we're getting like 10. Stop lying.
You asked, not me, Holden. I was just
I know. They say you're the heart of RPS. That's sweet. Let's get into the pitchers for tonight's 6-game slate. No more screwing around here. DC, I mean, obviously there's not a big slate of pitchers. I just love Casey Mize because I love Casey Mize. Okay. Great analysis by me. I don't know if he's great play tonight though, but at the top, we got Morton, we got Gosman, we got Musgrove looking nice. Severino too. Hey, why don't you just run through all the pitchers? Because there's not that many of them, DC.
Well, I was going to do that, but I got to start with Casey Mize because we got to disagree right off the bat.
Okay.
With Casey Mize. I don't think Mize, top prospect, man, he has not shown much of anything at the big league level. I was off him last year after seeing him pitch and looking at the numbers. Wasn't on him in draft season, and after seeing one start of him this year, I don't think anything's changed with Casey Mize. You saw him give up 7 hits, 4 earned runs over 5 innings in his first time out. He can't miss any bats. doesn't get ahead of hitters. I actually really like KC is kind of a sneaky stack today, but we'll leave Casey Mize in the rear view for now. This looks like a pretty straightforward pitching slate to me. And I don't always say that, right? Like I'm not afraid at all to go all in on a guy like, I don't know, Merrill Kelly, Mangone, who helped you have a big night, or Michael Lorenzen, right? Saying he's my favorite play of the night. He's going to lead pitching in points on that night at a low ownership and low price point. I don't see it on this slate. This slate looks straightforward to me. Walker Buehler at the top, I do think is the top option. I think the next best option is Charlie Morton, who's the second highest priced pitcher. So, these aren't necessarily my favorite slates, right? The best slates are when you have a low priced, under-owned guy that you think can deliver for you. That's how you get to the top of a tournament, hopefully. But Buehler, Morton, they're going to be heavily owned. I think they're really good options. Shohei Ohtani, I think, is a big talking point here. Looks like he has maybe it's been one start, but he was fantastic in that outing against the Astros. Velocity was up. Just statistically one of the best starts of his career in terms of a whiff rate and throwing strikes, getting ahead of hitters. And now he goes into Texas, who their numbers look pretty good against righties, but they haven't faced very good pitchers so far. Even the Vegas line, the team total doesn't seem to have that much faith in Ohtani. A little bit surprised to see Texas with a team total approaching 4 there, but I think Ohtani is very capable of delivering a gem. And then Joe Musgrove, 7,600, just too low of a price point for him is the big thing there. Tough matchup against Atlanta, but Musgrove is I think a 9K plus pitcher for the most part. So I think he's a value. I will say he pitched well in his first outing against the Diamondbacks, but velocity for him was down 1 to 2 miles per hour across the board on all 5 of his pitches, which, he's not going to be terrible if that continues, and we don't even know if it will continue, but it is worth noting that Musgrove's velocity was down. So I don't know, maybe the Braves can do some damage there. They'll be super, super low owned, I think, in San Diego tonight.
Okay. Mangone, I mean, you can start with Ohtani too. They've got at Texas. Roof's got to be closed tonight, right? It's got to be closed. Let's start there.
I think it's probably open based on how high the totals are, is my guess.
Yeah. I mean, they had it. You know what happened 2 days ago too? The total was up and then they closed it. I mean,
yeah. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Well, we're going under if
we'll see. Yep.
We'll go under again. Globe Life Field roof will be open tonight. So there you go. It's official. Look at that, DC. Mangone pitching. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I think Walker Buehler is, one of the best on this slate. He feels like the guy that I'm going to make like one of my building blocks for sure here. You can make an argument for Charlie Morton, who's only $400 less, but my lean right now is going with Buehler. If I have to pick one at the top, that's my favorite option. Ohtani's priced at 7.9. It's a pretty good price tag for sure. I think that's the one key thing with him. It is in Texas, but the roof will be open. So that's one thing to really debate. I don't mind like a Buehler Ohtani pairing tonight. I think it's definitely an intriguing option. Not huge on Severino. That's just Blue Jays offense. Is that something I want to attack? Like, I just don't think I want to go there. I understand it, but I just think it's unnecessary. It's also Luis Severino coming back from, injury and stuff. So pitch 3 in that first start. I just have some worries with that, especially with the Yankees. They're just such a good bullpen in general where they can kind of go deep into their arms if they want to. So I think that Buehler and Ohtani, you can either play both or you debate one or the other. My lean right now is to play one of Buehler. And then I'm trying to figure out who else I can play if I don't go that combo up top. And I think if you look like Zach Greinke against Detroit, I think it's kind of interesting at not a lot of ownership. Now, I'm not a huge Greinke guy. He's not someone that has a lot of strikeout upside. That's one of the big concerns, but he is going against the Tigers, who they can strike out. There isn't extreme hitters up there, so that's obviously a little concerning, but I do think that it's not the worst idea. You can also make an argument. Let's say you are going to play Ohtani. Why not Dane Dooning in that same game and just kind of like load up on it? Now, yes, the roof is open, so that's one of those concerns. Curious to see if the total goes up, but it is really hard to find like another option down low. And it just, I'm struggling to get excited about it for sure. So I'm curious to hear what DC thinks, because one thing I'm trying to think back on is, I don't know if you remember this, DC, there was a slate recently with Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw. And I ended up I didn't play Kershaw, and I played Max, and then I played a cheaper option. I think I played the dude you liked from Cincinnati, who didn't have the greatest start. It's fine. But the real key was I didn't have Kershaw, so I wasn't winning money. And I felt like the mistake that I personally made on that slate was with the stacks that I played, I didn't feel like I should have went down at pitcher, mainly because I just thought the pricing was too cheap on those other guys. And the gap between like a Greinke and Ohtani, it's only 1.1K. It's not 4K. And my first look on this slate right now, I'm kind of seeing these pitchers seem like they're easier to get. Do you agree or disagree, DC?
Well, first of all, you're talking about this this slate back in time. That was literally yesterday that Kershaw.
to be fair, DC, it feels forever ago. And the reason why it feels forever ago is we did the MLB show, right? I did the NBA playoffs. I did a PGA show. I did the morning PGA review. Then I just did a bet show, and now I'm on MLB. So I've done so many
nobody works harder than men go. Nobody's questioning that. But I had to look. I had to look to make sure that it was, in fact, yesterday, because I'm with you. It does, especially with baseball, when there's like 4 slates a day, and then I'm playing them all myself. So it does seem like a long time ago, but yeah, literally yesterday with Kershaw with that perfect game through 7. Greinke, like on a 6-game slate, I don't hate it, right? Because the more pitchers there are, the less likely I personally am to roster a pitcher like Zach Greinke, who doesn't have big strikeout upside, because it's just hard for him to beat 26 pitchers or 30 pitchers. But when there's only 12 and half of them are really kind of unplayable, I can get it with Greinke, but I still would rather find the salary savings to get to Ohtani or Musgrove or Buehler or Morton. I'm seeing Mangone on SaberSim, at least. Buehler is the 4th highest ownership projection, which would surprise me and make me more likely to play him. I mean, I was kind of coming in thinking he would be the highest owned. Where do you think the ownership will fall among, I guess, Buehler, Morton, Ohtani, and Musgrove? Because I've pretty much got my pitcher pool narrowed down to those 4. And how much I play of each at that point becomes kind of an ownership game, right? Where you want to have the lower owned guys, because I think all 4 very viable plays.
I think it's Ohtani 1, and then I think Musgrove and Buehler will come in similar.
Okay.
My lean is like I currently see Musgrove higher than Buehler. I don't really buy that. I don't think the second highest owned pitcher on the slate will be attacking the Atlanta Braves. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think you're going to see it either come really close, or you're going to see Buehler just like sneak out ahead of him, if that makes sense.
I think it will go Ohtani, Buehler, Musgrove, Morton would be my guess on ownership.
Ohtani, Buehler, and then what about in DC's rankings?
Yeah, just in terms of raw points, I would rank them Buehler, Ohtani, Morton, Musgrove. And point per dollar, I would have Ohtani number 1, because he is almost 2K cheaper than Buehler. Ohtani going to be in the course tonight, I think. It just looked so good in that first outing, and honestly, like I kind of want to bet on what seems to be the most talented baseball player ever, given what he can do at the plate, can do on the mound. Maybe he's taking a step forward. Like we saw it last year, right? Where he took the giant step forward at the plate and won a unanimous MVP. Who's to say he can't do it on the mound, right? Like maybe this is a year where he wins a Cy Young and an MVP. I'm done doubting the guy. You know what I mean? So 7,900 for Shohei Ohtani, and again, in a fine matchup, right? I'm not like super scared of Texas. I think he's going to be my number 1 tonight. I'll pair him with the Buehler, Morton. Those guys like Buehler and Morton are just kind of, we know what they are, right? We've seen it from them for a couple of years. I don't have a lot to add on them. They kind of just look like their normal selves, which you expect them to pitch well.
So we're staying away from Musgrove because of the matchup. I mean, I did the eyeball test, just watching him against Arizona. Now it was at Arizona, and Arizona different, but boy, he picked up where he was at the beginning of last year. He looks spectacular. That was an eye test thing, though. The other thing was the numbers. He had 8 Ks. So just stay away from Musgrove.
No, he's number 4 for me. So definitely you don't need to stay away from him. I'm a little concerned about the velocity, and then I've just been wrong on the Braves constantly. So I don't know about the matchup. I guess you go to ask someone else.
No, that's fine. Any other thoughts on pitching there, Mangone?
Yeah, go ahead.
My one last question I want to get from DC is I want to know Kevin Gausman. Could he be in play? We always talk about the Yankees. Like, they could swing and miss with the best of them. Now, this lineup, it's gotten better. It's not as bad as it was, I think, when it comes to strikeouts. I think, but what's your thoughts on Gausman? Because he's one of those guys too. Like, I'm not worried about his leash. I think he can go a long time, and he was pretty good last year. And I'm curious to see how he does here against the Yankees. Because if the Yankees put up a big goose egg, no one is ever surprised that the Yankees did that.
Yeah, he is number 5 on my list, and I think an interesting tournament option, especially if he's going to be lower owned. He went to the Giants last year, right, where he kind of had that monster season a little bit out of nowhere. I mean, he wasn't, he was a guy that we would kind of pick on. Kevin Gascam, like some people had him nicknamed for years, and then the Giants seemed to fix him. He was always a guy that I liked. He just didn't. He has one pitch, the splitter, that just gets so many swings and misses over the top of it. And the Giants had him throw it more often, more effectively. In his first start, he did the same thing. Splitter usage was 45%. He got a ton of whiffs. I think he had almost 20% swinging strike percentage in that first outing, which is about as high as you'll see a pitcher go.
That was way back in the day, though, DC. Way back in the day.
What was?
That start way back in the day for Mangone, it was like what, 5 days ago? 6 days ago? I mean, it must have been like 2020.
I missed the joke.
Yeah, I know you did.
I do like him.
DC, you actually thought he really meant that. You thought he meant like 2 years ago. That's what was going on.
Well, you never know with Holden. You never know what he might bring up.
I'll tell you this much: River San Martin at 9K makes a lot of sense. What the hell is going on there? Was that just an accident?
The pricing or the hat you put on?
Both. He's 9K at the Dodgers tonight.
Yeah, I don't think you want to.
He's opening, isn't he?
Yeah, I think it's
definitely
a weird price tag for sure. I don't think anyone's playing him. So if you want a guy that just literally has zero ownership, like go ahead, go for him. But I am not doing it. I think it's terrible.
Get your -5 and for 9K and move on. I don't get that one. But whatever, the algo is drunk.
He should be the lowest owned pitcher. So if that's your goal, you could try to get a total lineup of under 5%. He would be your guy.
Good. All right, like button would be wonderful. Would appreciate that. Time to get into our marketing points now. Okay, first we're supposed to hit the like button. Mangone, you got a number for likes today? Do we get to what, 200? It's the early free show. 200, 250. You tell me.
Oh, yeah. Let's push that home to 200. We can easily get that.
Right.
Got 360 watching, and we're talking some baseball on a Thursday, and it's kind of on an island today. There's not as much stuff going on, so we can definitely push this home.
Okay, very good. So that's the first thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, members never win, and that is sarcasm as well, because members seem to always win here. You've got May Cox, 30K in NASCAR. Clyons, 100K in NBA. I mean, this is just over the last week, right, guys? C. Jacobs, 100K in PGA. Club Cam Cole, 200K in PGA. The Man, $1 million in NBA. And of course, JSU hit the 100K, but he's a coordinator, so we're not worried about that. He's also expected to do that at this point in his career. I was telling those guys on the Up to Lock show yesterday, you don't get congratulated unless you hit for 6 figures. That's the bar. Mangone, I'll throw a 75K. Hey, you know what? 50K for you, Mangone. But sooner than later, you might get up there to the 100K. And then I'm not congratulating you until you get to that level. But that's what we do here at RPS. Just tons and tons of winners. Okay, let's get right back into the slate here, gentlemen. And we'll go to our first position. And of course, that would be catcher. Mangone, I'm going to get to DC in a sec. I just want to get your thoughts on the position from a game theory perspective. Is a catcher going to be part of a stack? Are you paying down? Would you ever pay up on a one-off for a catcher? Talk to me about catcher.
Did you say DC or Mangone?
Mangone.
Oh, I thought you said DC. My bad. I wasn't. Listen, Holden, you and I together, someone's not going to pay attention for sure.
No, we're not paying attention to each other for an hour.
And that's fine. No worries. So
let's talk about catcher, by the way, just so you know.
Let's talk about catcher though. I do think that you talk about Casey Mize and not liking him, DC. Well, what about Salvador Perez, right? I mean, he's a power bat. He can get the job done. I don't think there's going to be a ton of ownership on him. So I think he's definitely a really good way if you want to use your money. It just depends how you kind of spend, because obviously if you spend a lot of money at, one position, you got to find some spots to punt. And it seems like at the pitcher spot, we want to maybe spend our money today. So that could be a bit of a problem. That could also come with lower ownership at that catcher position. Other than that, though, I mean, catcher is not like my favorite today. I mean, I guess you could make the argument 4.8K, a Wilson Contreras. Yes, he can make some sense against a lefty in Coors, but it is that first game, I believe, for the Cubs in Coors. So sometimes I typically try to stay away from that. And I don't know, I'm just not really excited to play Coors Field this year. And I think I'm going to stay away. It always depends on the ownership, but I think in this spot, I'm going to stay away from it and go other ways. So currently think that at the top, I'd rather a Salvador Perez over a Wilson Contreras, who's going to gain some more ownership. Travis d'Arnaud, that's another guy. If you are going to play that Brave stack, a great way to do it. Just kind of fill out your 5-man stack with a Travis d'Arnaud. Would not hate that completely. And then if you're going to punt the position, it's not the greatest to punt. That's kind of one of the concerns I'm seeing here. So I don't know. I might look to spend up at this position today. It just depends. I mean, Elias Diaz at 3-4 against the lefty. I guess that can make some sense, but like, who gets excited about rostering Elias Diaz? I don't know many people that do.
So you're not on Coors today. I'm not on Coors. I doubt DC is. The weather just isn't warmed up here, buddy. Too much wind. It's blowing circles and left and right. And it's only going to be in the low 50s. So DC, I know we're talking catcher, but maybe you could just address Coors and then get into catcher.
Yeah, I definitely don't think you need to go all in on Coors. It's not, like you said, it's not super warm here. And Coors doesn't play that offensively, kind of in April when we have this type of weather. Warming up here though, for the next couple of days, I think it could be good. I still do like Wilson Contreras though. He looks just completely locked in. We're still early in the season where I've seen like most of the at-bats of most of these players, and Contreras, man, even his outs are like line outs to center every time. Just seems completely locked in. Gets a matchup against a pretty bad lefty. And
he's not in the lineup, DC. Just so you know, the chat is told us. Yep, they told us 30,000 times. So they'll throw it in again because you said it. It's currently Yan Gomes. So that is the option.
I like Yan Gomes against the lefty. By the way, I don't think I'm gonna play him, but
you are correct. So yeah,
Gomes is 2.9K and he's batting 6. So I think that's going to gain some traction for sure on the slate.
So I was very willing to eat the Contreras chalk, but the Gomes chalk probably going to be a pass for me. So it's still a fine play, obviously 2,900 at a weak catcher position. But yeah, Salvador Perez, I think now becomes a top option with Contreras off the board. Will Smith, assuming he's in the lineup for the Dodgers, he'll get Sessa and then Raver San Martin. So he's a good option. And then, yeah, if you want to go cheaper, Diaz, d'Arnaud, Alejandro Kirk, and then, of course, Yan Gomes, all good plays. But it doesn't look like a position where there's one standout, which maybe leads people to gravitate toward Coors Field, I would guess.
Okay, that would be catcher. Let's move on to our next position. Although, hold on, Mangone set the likes a little bit low. He set it at 200. I think we'll get past that, but get us up to 200.
No, I'm moving it up because the chat just kept going about Contreras. We're moving it to 225 because you guys kept going and going. So
you know what? Screw that. 250. Screw that. 250.
Okay, that's all.
250. I'll give you the plays of the day. But you're not getting after that. We'll do stacks because stacks
I literally, when I said the Contreras thing, like literally, like the chat was rolling. There was like 8 comments, like it came out like an hour ago, and like literally, I open up my phone and I just see the notification now.
My bad. Normally on top of that stuff. That's my fault.
But DC, that's not on you. It literally came out as we were talking about it. Like it wasn't one of those things like Giannis.
It didn't come out an hour ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Check the chat there, Mangone. I just sent something to you. Anyways, so let's move on. We're up to 225 and the like. Screw that. I'm putting it at 250. And if we don't get 250 at the end of the show, the stacks. I mean, I've been told I had to threaten people. It's too bad. We should just be used to this at this 432 likes. Come on, settle down, Otters on the over. I love you, buddy. First base. Why don't you take this one first? DC, Big Daddy Vladdy with another, he's Little Daddy Vladdy actually, with another bomb last night. There's a lot of options here, up and down. Max Muncy getting on the board. I saw him hit a home run Our boy Connor Joe, you can put him at first and in the outfield. I know we're not thrilled about Coors, but I mean, the dude is 3,400. He's probably going to be too popular. DC, first base.
Yeah. First of all, Vlad, I mean, what a performance last night. 2 home runs off Garrett Cole in the third later on. Just an absolute beast. I wasn't on him. You needed Vlad, obviously, last night. But he's going to be super, super low owned again tonight against Luis Severino. I'll take this opportunity, I guess, to talk about the Blue Jays, who I think are sneaky. I think you'll get their entire roster under 10% and a lot of them under 5% in a pretty good hitting environment in New York. Again, a little bit of weather there, but I think it will be fine, which frankly, they could just lower their ownership even further. Severino looked good in that first outing, but he has barely pitched in the last 2 seasons. And to me, he is just a guy who I wouldn't be at all shocked if he came out there and just didn't have any command or his velocity was down. I just think he's kind of a ticking time bomb to me. Just all the injuries that he's had. We rarely see pitchers come back from the myriad of injuries that he's had and produce for a long period of time. So he did look good his first outing, but I'm not convinced it's going to continue. That Yankee bullpen is pretty taxed right now. I think this is their 6th game in a row. And I don't know. I just have a hunch the Blue Jays could do some damage. Last time I was on the Blue Jays, I think they got shut out. So take that with a grain of salt if you want. But all to say, Vladimir Guerrero going to be low owned, high priced, but don't necessarily overlook him. The top end, though, does look good. Freddie Freeman and the Dodgers, I think, have a really good matchup against the Reds. If you want to go to Coors Field, you got a couple options on the Cubs and Schwindel and Wisdom up top. But I do prefer to pay for Vladdy above those guys. Matt Olson hasn't done a ton of damage, but looks really, really good at the plate, drawing a ton of walks, just clearly seeing the ball well. I think Olson is a good target. And then, CJ Cron. I know you guys maybe are lower on Coors than I am, but Cron just kills lefties. It's still Coors Field. I think he's a pretty solid option at 4,500 as well. So plenty of guys just right up top, and then, some cheaper options as well.
Yeah. Anthony Reiber, who covers the Yankees for, what is it? Newsday. Yeah. Newsday says mean looking clouds over Yankee Stadium moving in.
I think they're going to play.
They're going to get it.
See a delay or two in that game, but I think they'll play.
They'll get it. I think that's, because I just rechecked it again. They'll be fine. I wouldn't even worry about the pitchers, DC. I really wouldn't. I think we get this storm and then it looks like it clears out. So not concerned. Mangone, first base, my friend.
Yeah, so you brought up some good points about Coors, like Connor Joe. You can plug him in there. You also can plug him into the outfield. So whatever you decide to do, I think he's definitely like a guy who's in playing cash games. And if you're going to play Coors, right, you probably want to put him into your lineup. Definitely makes a lot of sense there. I agree with DC. I think the Blue Jays will go on their own because of the prices, and it's hard to get him in there. Vladimir Guerrero, you could certainly go back to well with him if you would like. I think a good way, if you want to play the Cubs and be a little bit different, plug in a Patrick Wisdom at first base. Of course, you could do it at third base if you would like, but how many people are actually going to plug him in at the first base position? Those are just small, quick ways to make yourself contrarian, I think, at times. Crone, definitely a good play at his price tag. Don't mind him. This is a position probably where I think the stack that I'm going to be on the most is I'm thinking the Kansas City is one of my favorite ones today. Yeah. So maybe Carlos Santana at 3K if I need the savings, or maybe this is a spot where maybe I just don't even go to maybe I do a one-off first baseman, because there's some really good power bats sometimes here that you can find as good one-off. So I'm trying to figure out right now, will it be a Santana I plug in with my stack, or will it be one of these one-off guys? That's definitely going to be a debate that I have as I'm building out my lineups.
I'll throw in, you mentioned the Royals. I like them too. Hunter Dozier, again, another player who the results haven't been there, but the process has looked pretty good for Hunter Dozier. Another player I do expect to get it going pretty quick here. He's, the cheapest starting first baseman on the board, 2,600, especially if you're on the Royals. He's one to consider. You can play him in Santana too, because you can play Dozier in the outfield, but I did want to give him a shout. I do think he's, again, I want I want hitters against Casey Mize right now. I'm just not a believer. Casey's kind of due for a breakout. Warmer weather there today as well.
I love Casey Mize. This is not the night to go to him. I really do think DC, he works it out. He's just too talented for it not to happen. We've seen guys bust, but I just don't think this guy's a bust. But I'm with you. He's not a pitcher tonight. He's
could potentially happen. I haven't seen it yet.
We're not targeting the guy tonight. And yeah, in the chat, you're saying he did it with a busted hand. Yeah. I mean, what was his right ring finger? He had blood gushing everywhere. It was pretty impressive. So also a question for Mangone. I see Title is in the chat. Chances that he full stack scores tonight.
Oh yeah. Title will definitely have some cores. There's no doubt in his mind. So
really?
Title stacking course tonight. I feel pretty confident.
Come on, man. It's not great weather here for baseball.
But what other spots look great? It's not a great slate for hitting. So I think that's another reason why people, I think, are just going to be like, okay, it's Coors. Let me just jump on him here. There's nothing else I really love.
The team total in Coors Field is 11. So that answers your title questions.
Yeah. I think I might go under then. Let's see. That might be an underplay today. Although Kyle Freeland, it's not the Dodgers he's facing tonight. Anyway, screw it. He's got Frank Schwindel. Suzuki looks like a complete badass, by the way. You've seen this guy swing, DC. I know you have. They do have a couple of bats in that lineup, but let's not worry about it too much. Like button, we're at 191. The goal is 250. Once we get to that, I'll give you the stacks. Again, one of our guys in the chat, he's like, I need stacks. Like it, mofos. I need those stacks. So do it for Andrew Shetter if you're not going to do it for yourself or for us. Let's move over to second base, DC. The second base position, DJ LeMahieu, Marcus Semien, above 5K. The only two guys above 5K on DraftKings. We talk about the Braves. Albies has a tough matchup coming up against Musgrove. So talk to me here. Can we go down a little bit at second base, or is this going to be a night where we're going to have to pay up?
I think you can a little bit. This is, I think, the worst position. There's nothing here that really excites me. Kind of like catcher, I guess, to some extent. Whit Merrifield, 4,500. Again, if you're on the Royals, you like that. I'll still have some interest in Ozzie Albies, despite a tough matchup at 4,500. Going down further, again, I think Coors Field guys are going to be decent options. Brendan Rodgers hitting fifth for the Rockies. He's cheap at 3,700. Got a good matchup against Steele for sure. And then I don't think we've seen a Dodgers starting lineup. I don't want the chat coming after me if we have, but Gavin Lux swinging a pretty good bat early on, 2,900.
He's going to hit eighth.
Lineup.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't care.
Nah, not in that lineup. In the really good lineups, I think you can not care quite as much about where they are in the batting order, because they can produce, from any spot. So yeah, Gavin Lux, 2,900. He looks good so far too.
Mangone, second base.
Yeah, second base. Obviously, there's some really good names at the top. The guy that I'm gravitating towards is Whit Merrifield right now. Like I said, we don't like Kansas City, so he's definitely a guy I think that you can go to here in this spot. But there are some names at the top that I wouldn't say like, hey, if you roster him as like a one-off, is it the worst idea? No. But Whit is definitely my guy up here. If you want Nick Madrigal, another Coors guy against the lefty, 4.4K, you could go him. But again, Whit Merrifield over him for me. And then when you get kind of a little bit lower, Brendan Rodgers batting fifth against a lefty. That's going to be a Coors bat that you definitely have to be considering. So second base, in my opinion, it's a little weak today, but I do think there are some good options in like that 4 and 3K range that you can kind of go to. Are
you stacking Coors? I mean, you're rolling off all these Coors guys.
Well, you name them just because you gotta, I guess if there's anyone here who's the cash guy, right? I'm trying to get the cash takes but I will not be playing Coors today. I'm just mentioning, hey, there's some good prices, and that's why people are going to gravitate towards them.
If you're going position by position, you have to name the Coors guys, right? Like it's
you're supposed to just go past them, DC.
Well, I think it's important on the board. I
think it's important to mention because sometimes I think people will just if the position's weak and there's like a good Coors value, then there's even more incentive for them to plug it in. Like Jan Goen's ownership is going to be egregious. It's going to be ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. People like, especially on bad positions, which we've got a couple of them, right? We're through 3 positions, catcher and second base, both look rough. When positions look rough, I think people are just going to be like, I'll just play the guy in Coors. I mean, it's not a bad strategy, right? There's a reason they'll be highly owned, but I think they will have especially inflated ownership today.
Brian said, DC, what have you seen from Espinal? Have you seen anything from Espinal? Because I haven't.
Yeah, he looks good. And then some bad luck. You're going to see that early on. I mean, if you just look at like the numbers on some of these players still, like Stephen Kwan is like leading baseball. He's hitting like 700, and some superstars are hitting 100. Like, it's very, very early. So I think you can take more from the process and kind of the underlying numbers of a lot of these players and just the underlying skill set, right? What we've seen from them in the past. But yeah, Espinal, listen, the Blue Jays like him, right? They're starting him over Kevin Biggio, who's kind of their prospect coming up. So yeah, to answer that question, I do like Espinal. I think he's 2,300 at a bad second base position. So yeah, I don't mind that.
Batting eighth at 2,300.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Good play.
Yeah. All right. And then K Felix Burner says, what do you think of Villar on FanDuel at 2.7 in the 3-hole at Coors?
Yeah. Hard to hate on that, right? I
think so. I think so.
Good play.
So Mangone, you wrapped up your second base. Let's go straight to you at third base then. Okay. Patrick Wisdom, 4,900 for the Cubs. If you're interested there, McMahon, you brought him up, 3,900 for the Rockies. Bobby Witt Jr. finally sees the price increase, guys. He's up to $2,500. I'm waiting for the gigantic monster Gonzo game there. Mangone, what do you like at the position of third base?
I mean, if you're trying to get different with your core stacks, right? Like, how many guys are like 4.9K 9-hitter? Like, sign me up. It just doesn't happen often. So I think he could be a contrarian way to go at the third base position. I don't have the ownership in front of me right now, but I think that's what people do. Like, they'll see Max Muncy after he finally hit a home run and be like, he's back. And they'll just kind of maybe gravitate towards him. Maybe they gravitate towards like a Justin Turner at 3.9K. I mean, that seems like a really good value play that you can plug in throughout your lineups. I do think the 2-hitter, Bobby Witt Jr., is a really good value that you can play on this slate. And I think some people will do that as a salary saver one-off. Maybe they'll do that in like a Salvador Perez, because like that 2-man stack with like a 5-2-1 could look really intriguing and help you save salary and help you also roster a contrarian option at the catcher position. So I don't mind going with that approach there. I think there's a lot of different routes you can go, like Bobby Witt Jr., Justin Turner. I think those are going to be two really popular options. Max Muncy will gain some ownership as well, where I think spending up at the third base position today is going to be a little bit contrarian. I don't think people will really be doing that. So that's kind of a route that you can take. My current lean, though, is plugging in Bobby Witt Jr. in my Kansas City Royals stack and moving on. That's kind of the approach I'm looking to take. One last guy I'll mention. I think I'd rather him, though, at the shortstop position, but I wouldn't mind Alberto Mondesi at the third base position if you need to at 4.4K. Another guy in the Royals stack that I think can be a really, really good option.
Okay. So third base, you could play Brad Miller there too. He's got the splits today, but I don't think anybody's going to attack Ohtani. But I would say that's a big T special, like Darren Ruff against lefties too. Mondesi for stolen base upside. Got that question. Brian Hayes is a must play. Chat is very, very lively today. Get us 45 more likes and we will be lively right back to you and give you all the stacks. Okay. Everything's going to go well. Want to remind you, so the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel here. It's that little red box in the bottom right-hand corner that actually says subscribe. Every time I look at our subscribers going up almost 8.5 thousand subscribers. Once we get to 10K, Hoop is going to go bananas and give some stuff away. So that's going to be absolutely spectacular. Looking forward to it. DC, third base.
Yeah, I'm with Mangone on this one. I'll be going back to Bobby Witt here again. Good. Not a believer in Casey Mize, and Witt's not served us super well so far, but it's coming. It's coming for Bobby Witt. So still hitting second, playing. I mean, I know defense doesn't do anything for your fantasy teams, but I'm not like concerned about him long-term or short-term. So despite the slow start, Bobby Witt, 2,500, take the discount there. I think you will see a lot of people go to Jonathan BR in Coors Field, 3,800 hitting third. Just seems like almost like too easy of a play, right, Mangone? Where it's like when someone just stands out so much like that, and the ownership is going to go there, that's a good time to move off, right? The times I want to get away from, projected high ownership are when I'm really sure that it is actually going to be a highly owned player. Feel pretty confident that a lot of people are going to go to Jonathan VR there. He's just not that great of a hitter, right? He's a guy that you can fade. He can easily go over 4. He's a journeyman, and that's the kind of. He's not that cheap at 3,800, so that's the kind of play. Whether it works tonight or not is a good game theory type of fade.
Okay. Let's continue on to the shortstop position. DC, I'll go right back to you. I mean, I love the Dodgers tonight. First of all, how popular are the Dodgers going to be, guys? The late night hammer. I mean, they got a high total, but I feel like Coors is going to get so much ownership. You guys have any read on the Dodgers tonight as far as ownership?
I don't think it'll be crazy. They haven't been that good so far. We've got all the lineups out so far on the slate, except for that Reds and Dodgers game. We don't know when we'll get that. So it could come after lock, and you don't know exactly what the Dodgers lineup will look like on any given day. So yeah, Dodgers look good to me too.
All right. What do you want to do at short? Trey Turner, obviously the top spend up at 5,600. Give me some names here. Roll some off for us. And I just wonder if there's anyone down low. It doesn't look too sexy to me tonight.
No, yeah. Again, not the greatest position. Mangone's talked about a couple of times. Hitting is just limited spots that look super good. I do think Trey Turner is the top guy. Adalberto Mondesi, again, another guy Mangone mentioned, play him at third or shortstop. Big upside, power and speed. And I do like the Royals in general. Bo Bichette, I'm going to be talking about a lot of Toronto guys or have.
Oh, hold on. Timeout. DC, I'm sorry. We just got the Dodgers lineup. No Gavin Lux. Oh, that is devastating. It goes Betts, Freeman, Turner, Muncy, Smith, Taylor, Bellinger, Hanser, Alberto tonight.
Title is somewhere really upset about this, by the way.
He should be. He should
now
be.
He's going to go for the full course. He doesn't have to have his one lone non-course hitter.
Son of a bitch. Go to Brad Miller title. All right. Sorry, DC. Where were you? We were doing shortstop.
Yeah, you're good. I was on Bo Bichette again. More of a Toronto stack only, but I do like that Toronto stack quite a bit tonight. Cheaper guys here. If you're not on Charlie Morton, one small weakness in his game, he does allow a lot of stolen bases. Hitting ninth for the Padres is CJ Abrams, who is a very highly rated prospect who has a ton of speed. I think he's one of the top stolen base guys, or should be in the major league. So he's 2,500. So if you're doing a punt the position, I do think there's a good option down there. But yeah, otherwise Trey Turner, Mondesi, and then I guess Coors Field, but kind of an ugly position tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely an ugly position.
Nico Herner looks fine too. Yeah.
It's Trey Turner staring me in the face right now.
Yeah.
And going, I don't know how many people are paying up for him tonight, but any shortstops at least interest you?
I mean, if you are paying up, that's who you're probably going to. You're more than likely going to play Trey Turner. You're not going to play some of these other options. I think I like Mondesi a lot in this position. If you don't go up to Trey Turner or Mondesi, maybe it's just going like all the way down. Maybe if like in your core stack, you're struggling with what to do, maybe it's going with like Jose Iglesias at 3.2K as like maybe an option that like people won't go to because it's a 9-hitter. I'm trying to see if he's like the only Coors shortstop, because that could also elevate his ownership if he was the only one. Nicky Lopez is in there if you want through your Royal stack, but probably would rather put him at second base, not shortstop. I'd rather probably throw Mondesi in there. One last thing I want to ask DC, and I was having trouble looking it up, but I believe that's the case. And I saw someone ask in the chat, Casey Mize is a stolen base threat, right? DC, that's a guy that you can run on. Is that correct?
Yeah, I actually looked it up while we were talking too. Not really. So last year, pitched 150 innings, only allowed 3 stolen bases, and had 6 caught stealing. So actually quite the opposite, and at least in terms of last year.
Well, worth mentioning, is there a new catcher there, right? Like, because again,
no, exactly. I would have to look more into it, but initial read is no, not a great. But the Royals The Royals will run on anybody, though. That's the thing. They're not afraid. They love to run. So
I mean, Tucker Barnhart really isn't like the defensive gem that we think he is, or that anybody thinks. I feel like he's not a.
I can look up his numbers too quick.
Yeah, I don't think he's great there. I feel like he's a nice bat. All right, Mangone.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about the shortstop, so I think that's like kind of where I'm at with it. Like, I think like I said, I'm looking at either Turner at the top. This is also not a bad position that like eating the Turner chalk, I don't think is the worst idea if you have the money to do it. Don't just be like, oh, I need to be contrarian with this one off. Like, I don't think it's the worst chalk to eat out of position if you happen to have the money. And then I think Mondesi, he's probably my favorite one to put in there. So it's like Mondesi, Turner, and then the cheap one, if I have to pick, more than likely, it is probably going to the Coors guy in Jose Iglesias. I will not be doing that in mine, but I do think if you need a punt option, he's the best one down there.
Okay. We've got 229 looking for 250 on the likes, plays of the day, and then we'll get to the stack. So looking forward to doing that. We still have the outfield position to go to. Like button, subscribe. And once again, let me just tell you a couple other things that are going on at Run Pure Sports. For those of you that are not subscribers, have never been a subscriber, and you don't understand how absolutely amazing it is, just for baseball alone, we will have, let me see here. Let me start with the playbook. Gary today comes up and puts 4 to 5 players at every position, and an outfield, he does like a dozen. Every single player that he would consider is in his playbook. So he gives descriptions on why these players are good. Gary actually just threw his core up. So we got Draft Cheat, Gary, Uncle T, Title. I'm sure, DC, you're going to end up doing something, right? So you get core plays, not only for DraftKings, but for FanDuel too. Bigger slates, we'll be looking at Yahoo and some other things. And then last but not least, it's not just baseball, NBA. We did great in college basketball. It's every sport you can think of. The NASCAR, make sure you check out Keg's premium show. You got NASCAR. We've got, what else are we doing? MMA. Am I missing anything here? Tennis, anything you want to play DFS, video games, you can do it. And I just say video games because I love Bruce, and Bruce gets a little tilted when I do